Here, there it is.
Oh, okay.
Sit in. Thank you.
Maybe.
Man, you can start.
Okay. We are going to start. Roll call, please.
Counselor Bishai,
Here.
Counselor Stancliff, sorry. Here. Counselor Martin,
Yeah.
Counselor Bergen,
Here.
Mayor Palmer.
Here. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to go right into the informational presentations, and right now I'd like to have Nick Fahey. He's from Southern Oregon Sanitation. He's also going to be doing the stormwater maintenance.
Thank you for having me. My name is Nick Fahey. I'm the Government Affairs Director for Southern Oregon Sanitation. Hopefully you have a little.
On the screen.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yeah. Pull it up to full screen and.
Can you make that a little larger? Maybe if you go to full screen.
Yeah, full screen. This.
There it is. That's it.
Thank you, it's better.
Awesome. So this is originally was going to be a CPI presentation, just here's the rate increase for this following year. But Lily proposed to ask us to do something for you, and so that's what I'm going to be presenting. First of all, can you have the next? Who is SOS? And then talking about yard waste as an included service for our customers. So we'll have garbage and recycling and yard waste all with one price. And that's what we're trying to get to, so we can have, instead of just a small number of our customers having yard waste, everyone have that, and we'll show the benefits of what that does for stormwater. So Southern Oregon Sanitation, we've seen this before last year, third generation locally owned garbage company. There's not another locally owned garbage company in Southern Oregon anymore. The last one.
Sorry, you're the last what kind?
Last locally owned
Oh, locally.
garbage. So, yeah, you'd have to go to road disposal sold. You'd have to go to Douglas County to see the next one. So the city county council's role, really it is to enforce what we actually do, and it all gives some oversight. We also give direction in what services we provide, as well as rate setting authority. So as I said earlier, we were going to come in for a 3.4% CPI that's allowed inside the franchise agreement. But Lily wanted us to provide yard waste for everyone. That's a perfect thing to do if you're trying to get these processes out of public works and provide work for the whole service area. I did some quick calculations, and based on grants passed, we get about 400 pounds of yard waste per customer per year. So if we were going to do this for all of Gold Hill for our customers, that'd be about 76 tons removed per year. Not all that goes into the roads and into the stormwater, but some of it does. So we want to make sure that we're trying to get as much of it out as possible. And do this.
It was 76 tons from Gold Hill.
From Gold Hill.
And that's just yard waste.
That's an estimate. Yeah, that's just yard waste. In addition, this process would provide about $1,600 in additional franchise fees to the city, which would then help pay for sweeping. The next thing, please. This is a comparison of rates. If we add yard waste to the system. If you see there in that blue line, that is Gold Hill. When we compare it to other cities or other haulers in the county, we're gonna be more than $5 less expensive comparing to the city of Medford and the city of Athlone. If you guys want to do this and want to make that call tonight, we can start delivering these carts next week and start effective July 1st, if you want. So really that's yard waste. And then we can go into sweeping if you would like to, and yes.
Before we go on to sweeping, is this in reaction to any of the legislation that's coming down from the state about solid waste?
So that depends on which one you're referring to. If we're talking about Senate Bill 582, that is recycling. That is a statewide recycle list. That's very important. That's going to start next year. This doesn't have anything to do with that. But if you're talking about garbage, I'm not sure what.
I guess that was it, Senate Bill 582. Then I have another question, but you.
My question is, but organic material isn't waste actually, right? You're just disposing of organic material.
Yes, yes. And it doesn't go to the landfill, actually
Right.
goes to the composting facility, yes.
Yes, and so that you make money off of that.
Yes,
Okay.
and we pay a franchise fee.
So then my next question is, what about composting? Can we put kitchen compost in these bins? We can.
If it grows, it goes.
Really?
As long as it's organic.
As long as it's, what does it be, organic, but it needs to be, broccoli and.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
but kitchen waste, like what you feed your chickens or
Yeah.
something?
Just,
Compost pile.
no meat, no dairy. That's
Okay.
pretty much it. And uncooked. You know, when it's cooked, it gets broken down and it gets putrescent.
It's a good word, putrescent. Thank you.
How much more of a charge is it for the household?
So in the proposal, it was going to be, we're just taking the garbage rate and the yard waste rate and combining them. So there's the people that already have the service, the 3 cans, it's not gonna affect their rates for this year. For those other customers, when we're adding the service to their account, it's about $8.
On top of what you already charged.
And then you make money off of what you take from the yard waste. You compost it and make
No.
money off of that?
Like recycling, it's not, we don't make money, and we're not the composter. We don't own the facility, so we don't get any money. That they charge us.
Mayor, may I jump in?
Yes, go ahead, Lily, please.
So thank you, council, for allowing me to join by Zoom this evening. I did not want to expose how I wasn't feeling well to you all. So when I started with the city in December, one of the things that was quickly brought to my attention is the city has obligations related to stormwater. And we have reporting that we are going into our 5th year for having to report how do we reduce our impact on the stormwater system and the temperature of the river based on our stormwater going back into the river. One of the things that can greatly impact that is reducing the amount of green material, leaves and different things that break down and in that process of breaking down, heat up, and as they go in the stormwater. So as you know, the city has offered to pick up yard waste along the curb for some time, and they do it in the month of November. This last year, we actually went a couple weeks into December. And at some point in the history, the city put a limit on 10 bags per person, but not the weight of each bag. What we're finding it is, it's getting to a point that it's pretty physically demanding on our staff, where the amount of bags they're picking up and the weight of them. They pick them up in trailer 2 or 3 trips a day. They have to take it to Hilltop. So we're paying fuel to pick it up. We're paying fuel and mileage to get over the hill to Hilltop. Then they have to break open every plastic bag and dump the organic material at Hilltop, and then take those plastic bags and throw them in the landfill, empty. And we are doing that 2 to 3 times a day of the days that they're picking up the debris. Sorry, my dogs are here with me. They are, the effort and the impact on their backs, where they're sore for a couple days afterwards, and the cost to the city is getting to a point that I asked Southern Oregon Sanitation to advise what the cost would be for us to implement yard waste pickup curbside. And so what we could do is that they pick it up every other week. Then in this high time, we can either look at options. Does it stay every other week? Can we go once a week during the months of November, or those 2 times in the year? So trying to look at options that we can be more effective with reducing the amount of greenery that's going down in the storm drain, but also the impacts on our staff. And then the cost. Just this last year, the 6 weeks cost us approximately $5,600 in order for us as the city to do that. And generally speaking, you want the services to be, the individuals taking part in the service to pay for that service. And so when Nick looked at the proposal, we would be looking at a rate tonight, no matter what, an increase in the cost of garbage pickup. But there is a good portion of our city residents that are already voluntarily taking part in the yard waste pickup. Those individuals would not, if we opt into yard waste for everybody as an included service into garbage, the SOS has offered to bypass the increase this year that everyone will just pay that yard waste pickup fee. Those who already do that, who have already subscribed, will not see an increase this year at the residential level. The commercial and the other portions will see the CPI increase. So there's an opportunity for us to meet the requirements of the state that they have on us by increasing the services that were offered with a more consistent yard pickup, by reducing the cost to the city to do the process and the wear and tear on our staff, while also a portion of the community would not see an increase in costs this year. If we do not opt to do the yard waste for everybody, then the cost will be an increase across the board to all accounts. And Nick can clarify that for you guys as well.
Right, it would be the CPI from last year, which is 3.4%.
Mhm. Well, I don't see any reason why we can't vote on this tonight. William?
You cannot vote on this tonight. Tonight is an informational meeting.
Okay.
Tonight is just a matter of getting direction on if the council would like us to move forward with the yard waste pickup as an option. I'll bring it back as an update on the June 4th meeting. The reason we wanted it presented tonight is to give at least a 30-day notice that we're having the conversation, and the June 4th meeting would not be a 30-day notice. So as far as action tonight, no votes can be taken tonight, but if there's a consensus of moving forward, we'll bring it back for the June 4th meeting for you to take action and have feedback from the public on that as well during that night.
Okay. Questions? You're welcome. What about? We're not doing, are we doing the December issues? Lily?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Item C, under 2, are we doing that tonight?
My apologies. I got to pull up the agenda. In the back of my mind, I only had the Title II amendments and this one that we just did with the Southern Oregon Sanitation. And with the Title II,
Okay,
I would recommend that we
so we're
postpone and get
not,
that rescheduled.
and that was the December payroll issue, so I was gonna.
Oh, we can bring that up, yes.
Yes,
Um,
I would like to.
okay, my apologies. I forgot about that item. So in order to get direction from the staff, this is a topic that involves me and my pay, and therefore I can't give direction to staff because that would be an ethical violation as it's directly benefiting me. So in January, it was pointed out to me that my pay had been entered in inaccurately, my pay rate for the January 5th meeting. I'm sorry, payroll, which covered some December time, but it was paid on January 5th. The response when we got a hold of the third party that does payroll is they said that I needed to pay that back. And so they would reduce the amount I got paid over the next 4 pay periods until I paid back the overpay. They had to be careful because I had already paid taxes on that January portion. And so then they had to reduce my pay, but also make sure that I wasn't paying taxes twice. There was a glitch in me getting access to my pay stubs. My name had been entered, the payroll people had entered it in with a misspelling, so I didn't get the access to my pay stubs until almost April. And in April, I was downloading and going through my pay stubs and looking at things, and I found the December 22nd pay period. It was my only pay period that I got paid in December. And I noticed it had the same pay rate as the January 5th pay date, which I then brought up that meant that I had been overpaid for the time in December that I got paid. I got paid for 2 weeks in December, and then the other portion of December was paid in the January 5th paycheck. So there's the staff got a hold of our third party who said, because it's in a different quarter of payroll, it's a different year, it impacts W-2s, it impacts the payroll tax we've paid to IRS and Oregon Department of Revenue, and that just to open it up and do the corrections will cost the city $750 to go back and adjust everything in the December pay for that pay period. In addition, we could face some other penalties and such. We don't know how much those potentially could be. And then any adjustment, then I would have to pay back like I did for the January wages. The problem is we're now in a new tax year. So I paid, we'll have to just figure out how that goes. So they have to adjust what I was paid and how much taxes I paid, and then pay it back through payroll this year, which then means I'm getting paid less in this pay year from that. So there's a couple options. And consulting both an accountant and our attorney, basically it's a council decision on what we need to do, and we need direction from you guys on what you'd like us to do. As it was the pay in December, one option is to just have everything undone, pay the $750 to have them open it up, and we'll face the penalties and such. And then we'll figure out the payback session that I need to pay back to make those amounts right in the next few paychecks in this year. That's option one. Option two is find out the difference of the pay that I paid and the over taxes that I paid, and pay back, just leave the reporting as is, but pay back the portion minus the over tax that I paid. Forgive my dogs, I'm sorry. I don't know why they're noisy right now. Option three is council can opt to say that December is as it is and just let it go. And that's the pay that was for December, and then moving forward for this year, everything is as it is. I do not want to influence the decision anyway. I will be comfortable with whatever council directs us to do. but want to make sure that we bring that to you guys for your awareness of, because it's a different tax year, because it's a different payroll, it's added some complications. So, that's essentially what happened with the December paycheck. And we only noticed it, the day that I went up to the bill signing with the governor is the day that we found that. So only just found that a couple weeks ago.
Okay, thank you, Lily. I just wanted the council to be aware of the mistakes that the city made with her pay, and that we need to correct this, but we need to have all the information available to us to make the right decision for her. So, can we table this until you come back and get more facts on this, Lily, on what the options that we need to take? Or that we have?
Well, those are essentially the options.
The three options that you gave us for the center.
Correct. The
Okay,
exact details, the payroll said they couldn't give us the details of the amounts until we paid them the $750 to open it up, and then they could look at what the differences are.
okay, so it's all based on opening up that account.
Correct.
And, okay. Questions?
How much are we talking about?
What was that number, Lily? How much are we talking about? 26?
It was $2,600 and the January pay, so I'm guessing it's going to be about that for the December. I also paid about $1,800 more in taxes than I would have based on that income.
And the vision, and it was just because of the name wasn't entered right. Okay, I don't know, that's what I mean, the facts. I would have to, myself personally, but I'm not a voting member, I would have to look into it and investigate it a little bit further. And that's why I would, I would say, let's table this and look into it and do what's right by Lily and the city.
Am I allowed to clarify? May I speak or may I not speak?
Lily, can Dee speak?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so I can help clarify some of it. I can't clarify all of it. So when I process the payroll, so we have the third party I saw. Originally, I just used to provide them with the hours and any PO around I want to say late September, October. That then changed to now I data enter everybody's hours. But I didn't catch when Lily first came aboard, I did not catch this. They put her base rate as because both Lily and I are salary.
Mhm.
So I don't mess with anybody's pay, I just enter hours. I didn't catch that they had entered her base rate as her monthly salary. And usually when I look at the report, I just check off yes, 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 and it was my mistake because I looked at her net thinking it was her gross. So that was my error. So that should have gotten caught. And when I do my second check, when we kind of balance what comes out from our bank statement, we do a double check there. For some reason, it just slipped. It just passed by me. I caught the second one that was incorrect, but I never caught the first one.
Just to clear my head, isn't she salary?
She is
She
salary.
is so.
So you just divide it by 12 and pay that per month?
There are 26 pay periods in the year for us.
Yes. On a salary that's 26 pay.
But then there are also taxes included in what she paid into because her salary was larger than her check was larger than it should have been. So she paid taxes on that larger amount. So we do owe her that money back. So technically it is a clerical error on my part.
Well, you're fired.
I'm sorry.
What goes on, and being a business owner, I'm gonna let you know right now. When I pay my taxes,
Yeah.
it closes that. Now, if I want to open that, I'm penalized.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep their hands in my pocket as much as they can. That's just how the system is.
Yeah, so we don't want to make that.
You can verify that as, so that's what they're doing. What they're doing is they're holding us hostage. So I'm gonna let the council vote. Go ahead, Lily.
I just still have a question. I'm not clear on the difference between option 2 and option 3. I know we're not gonna decide on this tonight, but so that I can think about it, So I understand option one is we pay the auditors, the accountants, $750 to fix it.
We don't,
And
it's
then-
payroll service that we would pay.
Right, okay, payroll service.
Mhm.
And, they would fix all the tax stuff. And there could be penalties.
For $750?
Mhm.
Totally,
That's,
that's just not to open up, they're saying to fix it, right?
It's to
No,
open it
that's-
up, it's to open up, because what they have to do is they have to amend W-2s.
So it's not just to open it
No,
up and
it's-
fix it, it's just to open it up.
it's just to open it up and look at it.
Good, got it, that's really important distinction there.
That's
Okay.
what that's what I was hoping to say.
Okay, so that's option one. I don't understand the option two and option three. Can you
Lily?
go over it again, Lily? Do you mind?
Option 2 and 3.
Um, eh, option 2 is not opening it up and me just paying it back. And minus, so my income will report the overpayment for last year. But then I'll pay it back. Minus the over taxes that I paid, so I'm not paying taxes twice. But we won't open it up. So I'll just pay back the city the debt. That was the option the attorney said might be an option. I don't know if we can actually do that if I think it might be coming down honestly to two options of either the council says, waive it, let it be, it's done, or we pay the fee and open it up, because I don't know how we'd know exactly how much I owed back to pay unless we just base it exactly on what I did with January, but then the reporting will be off and everything else like that. So
So option three is just to let it all be water under the bridge. Is that
That's
okay?
what it sounds like.
that's an option as well, but only council can make that call.
Okay,
And,
that's it. Thank
I
you.
mean, any decision the council makes, I will abide by, or we will.
So this is the second time it's happened?
It happened in the first two pay periods.
Correct. It's pay period 1 and pay period 2. I caught the second pay period. I did not catch the first one.
No.
No, it's not nothing that she did. It's a matter, it's between myself and ISOL.
I'm,
Well, we're gonna table it for now.
Yeah.
Can we table this, Lily, until next meeting?
And can we make a motion?
Or or can we make a motion on this tonight?
It was listed under the informational meetings, correct, as presentations?
Yes.
Yes.
So therefore, I would say, well, if there's a official vote to be had, I would say let's put it to the next meeting to be intentional.
It's not on there, it's an action item, so.
No, it's not.
We'll wait till it's an action item.
Right. It's just information presentation.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Lily.
Lily, we're sorry you have this complication. That's just too bad, but we all make mistakes too, so.
Yes.
Boy, of us, we'll figure
Well,
it out.
not me, not this year.
You're just started. Oh, any other questions? Does the councilors have anything for the good of the order?
One for the previous one. It said street sweeping. Does that mean you guys are gonna come in and sweep the streets included for that same rate?
Ah, that was my bad. I was supposed to bring that up.
It's okay,
So-
yeah, we'll let you out.
I noticed on something that went out from another organization, an advertisement about Southern Oregon Sanitation doing street sweeping. And I contacted them to see what it would take to do monthly street sweeping in Gold Hill. And they've presented a contract of which roughly $750 to do the first one, couple sweeps to get the whole city going, and then they would go monthly. Their main thing is they can't do it on the day before, the day of, or the day after trash pickup. So that essentially would mean on a Monday or Tuesday. And so for the cost, for the year, it will cost the city approximately $6,000. One of the things that I've noticed when we're looking at our budget, and this is something that I'll bring back to budget committee as well, but on each of the water bills, there's a $3 charge each month. One is for parks, one is for streets, one is for stormwater. That's supposed to cover costs and expenses related to those items. And it's been being used for payroll primarily. And so we're putting a stop to it being used for payroll. So there is money in the account so that we can actually address something. So recently a stormwater pipe broke and it eroded away at a road. There was a sinkhole. And when we got in there, we had to fix it. And so that would be money in that account that can cover something like that. It would also cover the expense of having the street sweeping going on. And so that we can also reduce the impacts of what is going into the stormwater and then dumping into the river. So this is in the past in our annual reports for the TMDL for the stormwater to DEQ, we reported that that ODOT does street sweeping twice a year. And then there's an accessory for the skid steer that can maybe do a little bit more, but the skid steer can't handle all the streets. And so this is something that would be appropriate for us moving forward and for those funds to be used towards. So that would be my recommendation if the council is so inclined that I can get that started this next month. They're ready to go. But it all has to do with stormwater requirements and obligations, both the yard waste pickup and also the street sweeping that Southern Oregon Sanitation would be doing on our behalf.
Okay, council, I have a quick question to you. Are you aware that we have a street sweeping attachment?
Yeah, that's what you said.
And so my point is, how come we're not utilizing that, Lily?
It's not capable of handling the entire city. It's about the size that the parking lot, it could be used down at the park in the parking lot. There's been a couple times maybe along the curb a little bit, but it is not at the capacity to handle doing the streets, all the streets like we would need to have done.
Okay.
Question. Does DEQ have anything to say to us about our, stormwater? I mean, you just mentioned that we'd said something on a permit that we're doing that. Like, are we under any sanctions from them or anything like that for our stormwater discharge?
We are under a 5-year plan with them to decrease our impacts on stormwater. And it's something that Southern Oregon Water Tech goes to the meetings. I've been going to the meetings since I've started, and we're going into, this is the 4th year of reporting in our current TMDL plan. And what they had reported last year was street sweeping. But when I looked into what the staff was actually doing there, it was very minimal with the street sweeping. So it doesn't rise to what would be needed for us to increase that level. And so going into this 5th year, that would start in July. That's why I'd like us to be contracted with Southern Oregon Sanitation in order to meet that requirement of increasing our services, decreasing our impacts on stormwater.
Thank you.
Could we have her go ahead and move forward with that stuff and just give us some numbers so that way we can sit there and look at it, take a vote on it?
Did you catch that, Lily? Joe was asking, go ahead, Joe.
I was wondering, asking the mayor if it's something that we could ask you to start working on, so that way we could get some numbers back and then vote on them at that time.
I already have the numbers. It's approximately $500-600 a month. So in total, I also asked if they would get City Hall and the sports park in the process, which they would add to. And they'll also double hit 2nd Avenue, which is technically ODOT's responsibility, but ODOT only does it twice a year. And so for the $6,000 it would cost us for the year, it is well worth the contract, and I would like us to go into that contract. I am questioning what level of contract authority I have to sign. Our charter said there was an addendum that covered it, but it wasn't added to the code. So I had to track down that process, but at the level of under $10,000, I believe it's something that I could enter into contract for and move forward, but I wanted to present it to council.
Nick, Have you seen our streets? Is street sweeping on Sunlight, I'm looking up on, I'm just gonna say ours up on top, I'm on 7, coming across here to 6. Is that a feasible thing to have a street sweeper do those without curbs and gutters and different things in place?
Without curbs and gutters, that should be fine. It's where we get into, roads with a lot of potholes. That's where we get into some issues. We're not gonna be able to pull up all the dirt and the rocks because they're just gonna be coming. They're just gonna be coming out of the road. So, most things should be fine. There are going to be, of course, some pothole areas or some degradation of the surface that, we want to get, but it won't allow us to. At that point, you're getting all the leaves and the sticks and things of that nature, and the big rocks, but the small things, you're just not gonna.
Just streets or streets and alleys?
Streets.
My question is a lot of, because we don't have sidewalks and gutters on most of these streets, people park their vehicles, so there's gonna be a big liability on your part, and that's what I'm focused on right now.
No,
Mm.
we would have to
How-
do it, it's not just I mean, we would do a campaign to let people know what's gonna happen as far as also moving
Okay.
out of the way, but you know, the contract says they will do it to the best of their ability. So is it the middle of the street and they have to get further around the edge? Like, I can tell you my street, for instance, has regular street sweeping where I reside, and I have curb and gutter. But if there's a car parked there, they just go around and you can see they
Okay.
were there. So they're professionals. They do a good job at this. They avoid the cars. Most people don't park on the paved necessarily. They kind of pull off in the edge of it, but if there's a car there, they just go around and that part doesn't get swept that much that month.
Okay.
Or people learn and they realize Monday.
Well, I just see a problem there, you know,
Yeah.
people complaining.
At least in the beginning.
Yeah.
You can start getting used to it.
Right. Well, thank you. Any other questions, councilors? Anything good for the order?
Do you have one more?
No.
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 Okay.
All right, well, we're just gonna call this a meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Mention something else.
What were you gonna mention?
Well, you mentioned something earlier.